Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Sports.
The Olympics. Update Watch Countdown 2012. Brought to you by the Sports Podcast. You're listening to it now.
Sports. Hey, everybody, and welcome to a very special sports podcast. We are doing wall-to-wall Olympic coverage today.
You forgot about to wall.
I was going to say,
there's
wall-to-wall
coverage.
coverage.
No, there's
of the
4
Olympics.
walls. How's the roof gonna stay up if there's only 3 walls?
Oh man,
so-
already we have plot holes.
Oh yeah, plot holes
you can,
already.
You can build. It's okay. It's like a stage at that
God,
point.
this was so much easier last week when Joel wasn't here,
Okay.
trying to
It
make our
was
house
a
fall
lot
down with
easier.
3 walls.
Okay.
Was that-
Let's cut right to it because this is a first. Hey Phil.
Yeah.
You catch any games this week?
You're damn right, I did.
Yes.
Holy fucking shit!
Part of why it's a very
Yeah.
special sports podcast. Phil has opinions about sports. Phil has watched sports.
I watched people do their swimmings.
Phil,
Yeah,
the
watch-
sports outsider.
Yeah, I'm a sports outsider, but during Olympics time, I got the fever.
the Olympics fever.
Yeah.
I got Olympics gastritis and post-viral IBS.
You should take some
Yeah.
Olympics lactate.
I'm taking all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But and watching the Olympics.
Yeah, of course.
Jordo's putting in an Olympic effort just to be here tonight.
I
to
am.
record.
It's
Everybody should
true.
know
He is
that
a
at
true
home.
Olympian. He is.
It hurts so bad.
No, but it was an awesome week of sports. I didn't
Yep.
watch many closely, but I half watched a lot.
I've been loving the swimming.
Oh, lots of swimming.
I passionately care about swimming once every 4 years. I hate to admit that, but it's true. But every time it comes on, I remember how much I fucking love watching swimming.
Yeah,
There's
and we all
amazing
went
athletes.
to University of Michigan, and Michael Phelps went to University of
Yes.
Michigan.
Speaking of which,
Huh?
today's podcast, we have Michael Phelps as
What?
a guest on the podcast.
But he
The
was a
most
freshman when I was a
decorated-
senior.
most decorated Olympian of all time.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, so this is a big get,
Oh,
guys.
Subway
great.
guy, Michael
Huge
Phelps.
get. But Michael, not as dominant as he's been in past Olympics. Still doing pretty well though.
Yeah.
Still a
Won
fucking
lot.
Olympian.
Still,
He's
yeah.
pulled in some gold medals. I'd like to see you do better, Joel Anderson.
I couldn't. And
Yeah.
here's the thing: I do a lot of swimming as like a hobby. And
Sure.
the times that they put up, they're way faster than me, guys.
Really?
Like way.
You can't be an
way
Olympian
faster
right
than
now?
Give me your
No,
time.
you're right.
100 meters. Give me your
For-
time.
for 100 meters.
Freestyle.
Let me see.
No, freestyle rap it. Your answer. Freestyle.
I think I could maybe do that in like 2 minutes.
I could maybe do that for 2 minutes. I like to eat some peanuts. Joel.
Are we gonna freestyle rap it or we're talking about swimming?
Well, it was both because freestyle's a swimming thing, and
Yeah,
come on, you
it was
love
a bit of a-
puns.
It was kind of a bit. And,
yeah. Okay. And
that
it came crashing to a halt. Yeah.
screeching halt.
that's a good drop. We should.
Yeah, we should use
we
that.
should
We
use
should
that
do
as
that
a
more
drop
often.
when we start using drops.
Right, exactly.
We should have a button here on your table, Phil, that we push and it goes screeching halt.
Every time you talk, Joel. Every time you talk.
Okay, so we have Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps in the show.
We'll also have, I believe, some human interest pieces.
Ooh.
Yeah, we do.
I like
because-
NBC cut them together for us.
That is
yeah.
nice.
So these are coming straight from Dick Ebersol, who was the guest producer for this episode of the Sports podcast.
And it's great. It's great to have him around the studio.
It is.
It is.
Truly a legend. Granted, he's never done podcasting before.
Yeah,
No.
and he can't
Yeah.
stop talking about the Joe Piscopo years of NBC.
Yeah.
Right?
He's really big on Joe
He
Piscopo.
loves Joe Piscopo.
Thinks he's the funniest. He was
Yeah.
the one that introduced Joe Piscopo into weightlifting.
Ah, well then he should be ashamed of himself, because that man looks like a human freaktoid now. Sorry.
Screeching halt.
Screeching
halt.
Okay, let's talk.
the ones. Yeah.
Let's talk opening ceremony of the Olympics.
Yes.
Okay, I
Opening
did
ceremony
not watch
classic.
it.
Yeah. Phil.
I was working. I didn't get home from work in time to watch the opening ceremonies.
Okay.
All right.
Some of us DVR'd it,
Oh, that was smart. I should have done that.
and then you can fast forward through a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh, is it bad?
Well, the Olympics as a whole, it's a lot of. It's the opposite of the Sum 41 album. It's mostly filler, not a lot of killer.
Oh, I understand that reference because I'm a child of the 90s too.
All right. So it's mostly filler, some killer.
Yeah.
And so but it was an entertaining opening. It was not as I guess as maybe majestic and mysterious as the Chinese one.
The Chinese opening is gonna go down in history. I would say that the first half of this opening ceremony with the whole Industrial Revolution thing,
Very cool.
pretty solid.
Yeah, I
Pretty
actually
solid.
watched that on YouTube, and I saw the sparks falling down.
You got a mountain. First, they had a mountain with a tree, and then out of this mountain comes a bunch of dirty peasant workers.
Right.
Yeah.
What are they doing here?
That's exactly how people were born.
Destroying the countryside.
Right.
Making it all tall buildings instead
But
of
they
trees.
needed to forge the rings. The
Yes.
1 rings to rule them all.
That's true.
The 5 rings.
Yeah, the 5 rings. Yeah.
Which stand for the 5 great races.
But I thought
Right,
that was
exactly.
cool
There's
imagery.
yellow and red. And is there a black ring?
I think so. Actually, the rings are the colors they are because, what is it? At least one of the colors from the Olympic rings is in every single flag of every nation in the entire world.
Really?
No flag of a nation doesn't have at least one of the colors of the Olympic rings.
What about the Antarctica flag that's just all snow white?
That's not a nation.
They do not send
What?
anyone to compete in the Olympics.
Oh, why not?
Well, they were going to send their penguins this year for the swimming, but again, caught doping.
Oh, that's too bad.
They're dirty.
Yeah.
Dirty team.
You would never guess
I
because
watched
they're always
Frozen
wearing those
Planet.
fancy
Oh my God.
tuxedos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of caught dope, well, we'll get to that later. We got to finish the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
Opening ceremony. What else happened? Oh, the Queen.
The Queen,
Skydove with James Bond.
pretty into that was. I feel like. I mean, granted I don't have a lot of interactions with Queen themed media, but that seemed to me like it was a real step out from the
Joel,
norm.
don't kid yourself. You watch a lot of Queen-themed media.
I've
Yeah.
seen your DVR and the amount of
yeah.
Bravo you record.
Exactly. Joel
They're
live for the Joel
interesting-
guy.
Yeah.
Well, see, what I thought is everyone was being like, wow, what a great sport for her to do. Oh, my, this is unprecedented. It's like
Yeah.
she showed up and they recorded her leaving, a stunt
Yeah.
double skydove, which it was cool. But then they showed her in the stands, and would it kill you to be happy?
To
Right.
smile?
Your fucking country's hosting the Olympics, and you look like, yes, that was an amusing thing with the stunt person diving, huh?
Yeah.
And-
She should have
and when
jumped
she-
up and down and went, yeah, motherfucker.
Well,
yeah, I'm
she
the queen."
declared the Olympiad open, and everyone goes nuts. And I was just like, Christ on a cracker! That woman is dry.
She read it off of an index card and just I now say the 30th Olympiad in London is open.
except with like half as much inflection as you had.
Yeah,
right there.
less.
It's got to be boring to be a royal, though, in England because you're born into it. You never know another life that's not everybody cheering at everything you do.
Well,
Imagine if you take your first steps and you have a nation cheering.
You would probably grow up
you
thinking you're
probably-
pretty awesome.
Pretty hot pants.
well, I'll go down as saying I thought the Queen was lame.
But you know what wasn't lame?
What?
Well, James Bond.
Yeah.
Which I
not
predicted
lame.
would light the torch. He didn't, but it was close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because David Beckham in a speedboat
Yeah.
coming down the Thames.
That was actually okay. I thought
It
the
was
torch-
cool.
We are missing though. We are the awesome sandwich though. A rather lengthy medley of pop songs with dancers.
Oh yeah.
Which is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Although I liked
Truly awful.
I like
Truly
I like
awful.
that they ended with what was it, Eclipse from Dark Side of the Moon. Or that wasn't the
Yeah.
end, but when they did the rings,
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. And at first, when they brought out Paul McCartney, just sung the end. I thought that was going to be it, and I was like, well, that's a little bit of an underuse of Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
You told me he was going to be here. And oh, okay, we'll do Hey Jude.
I'll be
Oh,
honest.
he did Hey
We
Jude.
we turned it off halfway through Hey Jude.
Really?
It was late, and we've heard it before. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Paul McCartney appears at. After he left the Beatles, I think he's just gotten progressively lamer, like every single year.
You're saying a lot of controversial things. You think the Queen
no,
is
no.
lame. You think Paul McCartney's lame.
A night, Sir Paul
Yeah,
McCartney.
Paul
Sir?
McCartney. Let me put it this way. Remember when there was the Super Bowl and Janet Jackson showed her boobie?
Oh,
There was
yes,
a huge
I do.
hullabaloo. And so the next year they're like, who is the straightest, most down the middle, safest pick we could possibly have to do the
Elton
halftime
John,
show this year?
straightest man on earth.
Wrong. It was Paul
Oh,
McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
Oh,
but
yeah.
then they did that for a few years.
Yeah.
It wasn't until recently when
But
we
the
got the Black Eyed
safest
Peas
one-
back.
Yeah, so they
Which was
can
a huge
yell at
mistake.
us for a while. 2 nights a night, Mazel tov. Yeah, I got it. God, that band is terrible.
But okay, opening ceremonies, fun stuff. What else are we talking about here? Before we move on.
Oh, in the Olympics, we'll have another Olympic segment where we're going to talk about swimming.
Yep,
we're going to
we'll
talk about things that are synchronized.
Yes.
We're going to talk about badminton.
We are going to talk
Badminton.
about bad, and truly in this case, badminton.
Yeah,
This was
emphasis.
the worst-minton.
I like that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Olympic joke telling. Phil goes for the gold.
Hashtag Olympic jokes.
Yeah, Olympic jokes.
Olympics jokes.
So these better be good jokes.
Olympics joke, then. You wouldn't pluralize jokes.
No, because it's the Olympics and they're jokes.
Right.
We're
Olympics.
I'm getting a signal from Dick here that we gotta move on.
Oh, sorry, Ebersol.
All right, we're running our first piece here from Dick Ebersol. Phil Ranta has become a fixture here on the Sports podcast, showing an astounding knowledge of obscure, previously unknown sports, while matching it with an equally astounding ignorance of any and all happening in the well-publicized sporting world. However, his journey to this point was not an easy one. Phil is lucky to have recovered from an incident in his childhood that has ended the careers of many podcasters before him. Phil Ranta's parents.
It was terrifying. Really scary. We wondered if Phil would ever wear a mic again.
The family really came together and rallied behind him. It was really amazing.
Wait, what are we talking about? I'm not sure what this is in reference to.
Phil was just 7 years old. Late one summer afternoon, he left the home of Michael Ruttinger, his closest friend, after an afternoon of playing Nintendo. He got onto his bicycle and began the trip home, unaware of what waited for him on the road. He was coming into the final turn onto our street, and I guess he took it a little too fast, and...
Wait, is this about the time that I fell off my bike?
The astonishing violence of the crash brought young Phil Ranta to tears. He hit the ground, traveling almost 10 miles an hour, and slid almost 4 inches.
We were on the porch. We saw it all happen. You really can't describe what it's like to see something like that happen to your son.
This is about the time I fell off my bike.
Phil suffered a serious skin abrasion in the patellar region of his right leg.
Hey, I skinned my knee.
The blood was just on his knee. He was wearing khaki shorts. The stain... Oh, God, it never came out. We had to give the shorts to Goodwill. Phil's budding career as a podcasting giant was suddenly in jeopardy.
There's a paraplegic with a podcast. I don't see how that's possible. And there's no such thing as podcasts when I was 7. This is ridiculous.
The long, agonizing rehab
I wore a Band-Aid for a week.
had Phil courting thoughts of suicide.
What?
But today, he sits before you, and with every weird sport he does, it's an affirmation of his life and the difficult journey that brought him here.
How did my parents agree to this? I'm leaving. Oh, my knee! I skinned my knee! Oh, God, I'll never podcast again! I'll never podcast again!
Moving right on with our Olympics coverage, we're going to hop right into the pool here, folks.
Oh!
Talk about some swimming, because we again do have, coming up later in the podcast, everyone, Michael Phelps, our guest.
Yeah, U of M.
Yeah. Even I
Didn't graduate.
Didn't
No,
graduate.
didn't have to.
Also didn't swim on the swim team.
Well, no, he didn't have
Yeah.
to. He was just picking up
But he's
ladies.
Michael freaking Phelps. I forgive Michael Phelps for going to Michigan because he's Michael Phelps.
You went to Michigan.
I-
Forgive
I- and
yourself.
I haven't
He does
forgiven
not.
myself.
He does not.
For going to
Oh,
Michigan.
okay, that's
but
fair.
Michael Phelps, I have a lot of interesting stuff in the pool. Rebecca Soni recently breaks the world record for the women's 200 breaststroke in the semifinal, and then comes back out in the final and breaks her own record again.
Do you know why? Because Sony does everything a little bit more efficiently.
Yeah.
Those Japanese made, right?
Yeah. Well, she's American. Yeah.
No, she's a Sony product.
Oh,
assembled in America. Made in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also been some controversy, though, in the
Yeah,
pool.
I want to know about this. Tell me this.
So the 400 IM, the individual medley, which is where you do 100 meters of each of the 4 major strokes.
Right.
A lot of controversy because this Chinese woman, well, girl, I think she's like 16. Her name's Ye Yi.
In
Might be
most
worth
Asian
looking that
countries,
up.
woman.
Did you just say yay, ye, ooh, or were that your verbal noises as you were thinking of what her name was?
I think it's Y-E is her name.
Okay.
So we'll just go with Ye.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay!
But she broke the world record in the 400 IM for women by a full second, which is a huge margin. Like, she crushed it. And she wasn't even ahead until she hit the final, which is the 100-meter freestyle, and then she went out. And her final 50 meters, she swam faster than Ryan Lochte swam.
Who's a man.
Who is a man and an enormous man.
Oh, look at how sexist the two of you are, huh?
Well, no, they separate the events, Phil, specifically because...
Oh, yeah, sure. So a woman can't swim as fast as a man because of their huge boobs.
That would create more drag, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and because of their slight frames and less muscle mass.
This woman does not have less muscle mass. Well, she has less muscle mass than Ryan Lochte, but she has more muscle mass.
I think I hear
than
what
me.
you're saying.
Does not have a slight frame.
You
Point
think
is,
she's half dolphin.
That's not what I'm saying at
The
all. Phil.
13th year.
I think she was doping. Here's the thing. As I watch more sports, I'm more and more, I don't want to say okay with doping, but just resigned to the fact that these athletes are clearly capable of beating the tests, and until you can...
Now, when we talk about doping, are we talking about doping as in cycling where you just make your blood fucking sweet? Or is it like doping like shooting up with roids?
I don't know how you dope in swimming. That's the most helpful. I'm
I
sure
think you have to
steroids
oxygen,
would help.
right? By getting more oxygen.
yeah,
That's
I
the
think
least. That bothers me the least.
Yeah.
No,
think,
I
like,
thought
they're
that
probably,
doping
like,
in terms
EPO.
of those things is that you increase the amount of red blood cells in your blood, right?
Yep. Red blood cells have iron.
Yeah,
But
and
then
they
also,
let the
I mean-
oxygen go around your body faster.
It's a very muscly sport. I imagine if you were taking like anabolic steroids while you trained, that would also bulk you up. But here's the thing. I mean, for her to swim that much faster than any time she's ever swam before.
What about amphetamines? Methamphetamines.
Yeah,
I
a little
guess
crystal
also,
meth.
Also possible.
A little
but-
bit of the blue glass.
Yeah.
Huh?
But I mean, the Chinese are really upset. They're like, where is your facts? And it's like, well, the fact is she swam a second faster than the
Well,
world
it's
record.
very, very, very circumstantial, though, at this point.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying my opinion is she probably did dope. I'm
Guilty
not
until
even being that
proven innocent,
judgmental.
Joel Anderson.
Maybe like one of those things like in the pool, you know, where there's jets in the pool. Maybe like it came on in her lane when she was swimming. And
right,
gave
it was
her
a
that
little
extra-
hot tub.
I don't
Yeah.
think they have jets in this pool. I don't think it
I'm
doubles as a
sure
hot
they
tub.
have a filter
Oh.
system. It's
They're
a pretty
rich
nice
enough.
pool,
Yeah.
Joel.
London's a big city.
They spent
All right.
$1 billion
All right.
on the Olympics.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a lot of the swimming news. There's other swimming news, but we can talk to Mike Phelps about that when he's on. the show
Michael,
later.
show some
I want
goddamn
to
respect.
talk about synchronized diving.
Yeah.
Which has been around since 2000, so longer than I thought.
Yeah.
And my thing is, okay, everything is harder when synchronized. I get it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have this synchronized 100-meter dash?
Well, it's like my thing, adding that does not make it a whole new sport. Fuck that. I don't know.
What?
Yeah. Synchronized diving, it's a fucking joke.
No.
Yeah, diving's diving. Okay,
doesn't it
anything. You
point
can
out
synchronize
the-
anything, and it becomes harder. Of course.
Okay, synchronized basketball.
Really hard.
Yeah, you can't
Yes,
do
it'd
it
be
though.
extraordinarily
You
difficult.
can't do it.
Synchronized
could do
dunks on separate sides of the court.
Oh, I would
dunking,
watch that.
Sweet. Yeah, it actually sounds awesome.
That
doesn't
sounds
it?
great. Oh man, it would look like they're in a mirror opposite
I
each
know,
other.
right? It would look like the effects function on your Mac in
Oh,
the photo
yeah.
booth.
Totally.
That would be NBA All-Star Game. I hope you're listening.
Jordan, you're losing steam in your rant against synchronized diving.
You know, it's actually pretty sweet. The Chinese are good at it. Maybe it's because
Yeah.
they all look alike. What's more racist? Okay,
What's
next.
more racist?
Gymnastics. You know, I don't like the sports that are subjective. That's the other reason I'm not
Yeah.
big on the synchronized diving.
Yeah.
I don't consider them sports.
Well, they're competitions. They're athletic competitions.
Yes, they are absolutely athletic, and I don't mean to demean them in any way, shape, or form. They are what they are. What they are is pretty amazing. That said, I don't think they're a sport because what is it like? The Olympic motto is like higher, farther, faster. It's not like more gracefully,
Better
or
score.
punchier. Yeah.
Well,
or
how would you?
with
'cause
more zazz?
I think we all agree that they have to have some sort of gymnastics thing. You just don't like the
it's not
scoring
going-
system.
it's
How
not
else
going
would
to
Well,
they
it's
do
just
it?
I personally, it's one of those things like synchronized diving. I actually think is a fucking joke, but gymnastics is one of those things I see the merit. I'm just personally not as into it, and also
Yeah.
the announcers kill it for me.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're like, and then she landed it. She landed
No,
the
because
landing.
when something bad happens, I go, that was catastrophic. That was basically a Holocaust on the rings.
It was though. They can only do it once every
That
4
was
years,
like
and then they
a
grow
puppy
boobs and they're
abortion
done.
on the horse.
Yeah.
That was terrible. And it's just like, whoa, the dude's already crying. You're making him feel worse.
No, that's like a 14-year-old girl.
It's some guy from Brooklyn who is basically supporting his poor family. And
Yeah.
he's like, that was devastating. Look at him. That was
So
catastrophic.
you wish they coddled an Olympian?
I
They're
wish they
tough.
didn't use such heavy-handed fucking verbs and nouns for like things that I don't understand.
Also, that's like the whole sport, though, is it's just like, don't fall for 3 days. If you fall, 4 years of your life will have been wasted.
It's true.
All right, next. What do we got
That's
next?
it,
Badminton.
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 Yes.
Badminton, sorry.
Thrusting its way into the public consciousness like a shuttlecock.
Yeah. I love to thrust my shuttlecock into the public consciousness.
Incidentally, the fastest moving thing in the Olympics is the shuttlecock right at right off the racket in a badminton serve.
And then it slows down immediately.
It immediately slows down.
Only using feathers from the left wing.
Do they actually use feathers in the actual?
I learned that
I've only played with-
watching the Olympics this week.
They don't actually still put feathers on shuttlecocks.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Oh, see, when I played, it was always plastic
Yeah.
ones. I went to a
You
public
played
school.
on cheap
Well, I
garbage.
imagine that we probably came from. We come from an area where I don't think badminton has ever been taken
Minton.
seriously enough that.
Stop doing that. Is that
Badminton.
Really? Is that it?
Yes. Badminton.
Anyway, huge controversy. 8 athletes, 4 different doubles teams have been booted, DQ'd, kicked out of the Olympics.
All those mean the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yes, because they tried to lose a match that they were in.
Disqualified even.
Now, initially, I would yes. Initially, you
Told
would
to
think,
go home.
Yes, all of these things. Initially, you'd think, oh, they were throwing a match
Removed from competition.
as part of like a gambling.
You'd
thing.
think that basically the gamblers, which have a hold on most World Badminton Tour games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might watch more.
You
badminton.
thought they had their sticky hands into
Yeah.
this.
Right, like the sticky bandits from Home Alone
Yeah.
2.
Exactly
You'd
like
be
this.
wrong, as it would turn out. Easier path to medals if you lost like a game in the round robin thing that preceded the competition.
You'd actually have an easier path to the
Yes.
podium.
So the reason that they were losing
Pedestal.
on purpose was because it would allow them to win more later.
So that's
Right.
good. That's gamesmanship. That's strategery.
basic
No,
strategy.
if you watched it though, it was so embarrassing. Like they were hitting the shuttlecock into the net on purpose, and
Yeah.
everyone was booing.
Yes.
They paid money to see these
But
competitions.
here's the thing: embarrassing for who? And I say
Embarrassing-
not embarrassing for the athletes. The athletes were doing what athletes are supposed to do, which is try to win. Like in the grand scheme of things. Wow.
The
I
grand
was
scheme
gonna
of things
say, they
isn't
were
to
not
win the
trying
match.
to win.
Yeah.
They were
were doing
trying
the
to win
exact
the
opposite.
gold.
Yeah, they're trying to
No,
win.
this is the
everything.
argument that I've had though. They were not trying to win the gold because if they were trying to win the gold, they could beat any team. What they were trying to do is more comfortably
No.
win silver or bronze.
but even then, like just it's not on them. They shouldn't be disqualified. Badminton should go back and go, wow, we really botched it in the way we organized this tournament because we created this situation where these poor athletes had to try and lose in order to advance their fates. It's completely on the organizers, and now they've kicked the athletes out of the Olympics.
It was a
which is
gross
complete
display.
Bullshit.
They played worse badminton than I could possibly
Yeah.
if I was
Badminton.
trying badminton
Yeah.
than I possibly could if I tried. They were hitting the shuttlecock into the net. They were like swinging away and giving up and walking out.
Yeah.
They got booed leaving the auditorium so loud. It
I'm
was
not
like
suggesting.
embarrassing.
Not
embarrassing,
suggesting that it wasn't
display.
an embarrassing display. It
And-
is an embarrassing display, but it's embarrassing because of the people who organized the tournament, not because
You're
of the
the
athletes.
Pete
Also,
Rose of the Olympics,
It's
Joel.
their right
It
to
is.
boo. They probably paid over $100 fucking dollars
Yeah.
to watch his hilariously
watch
bad.
people
You know what,
dicking
guy?
around.
I'm honestly, Jordan. Though these are people who paid over $100 to watch badminton, so I do not have
Minton.
a
You're
lot of
getting what you
sympathy.
deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You get third grade gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, wow, Phil, we had a strong difference of opinion about.
I
sports.
disagree.
Well, all right.
Phil had a strong opinion about sports.
I disagree.
Guys, let's all bring it together because up next we have Olympic champion Michael Phelps.
Oh,
Yay!
man. All right. Yeah. All right. Everybody. All right. Big time. First, we got another piece by Dick, though.
Another human interest story.
Another human interest story.
Joel Anderson, one of the stars of the Sports podcast, is already one of the strongest voices in the podcasting field. While his success now seems inevitable, early on, it appeared podcasting would not be in the cards for him.
I told that boy you're never gonna make any friends listening to them podcasts. Ain't no child of mine gonna do nothing but help out in the family firm.
Joel's alcoholic, abusive, and probably racist father ran a server farm, storing internet data for several of Mississippi's largest tech companies. As a child, Joel was forced to work child labor law violating late nights, cleaning the many machines.
Well, it was hard, but at the end of the night, 5 a.m., I would walk to the 19-inch rack that had the servers for Podcast Studios USA. I always dusted that rack last so I could press my ear to the machine and hear the hum of the fan and imagine I could hear all of the podcasting greats.
Shortly after his father caught him doing this, Joel was sent to a special needs school, where he found an outlet for his talents doing podcasts of the school's lunch menu.
Welcome to the Oak Grove Lunch Podcast. Chicken tenders, mashed potatoes and gravy, side salad, corn, choice of biscuit or dinner roll.
The Great Recession brought a tech drought that plunged the Anderson family into bankruptcy and had them confronting the possibility of losing the server farm.
And Joel said to us, "Hey guys, I can help you out." And I said, "You're starting to sound like your classmates. But okay, we do need the help."
Putting the weight of his family's financial burden on his underdeveloped shoulders, Joel podcasted his way to the top, and in no time, he had gotten his family out of bankruptcy. However, it took more than that to win over Joel's father, who finally tuned in to one of Joel's podcasts.
Sudden numbness or weakness of the face, arm, or leg, especially on one side of the body. Sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes.
Joel's Signs You're Having a Stroke podcast couldn't come soon enough, because at that very moment, Joel's father realized he was having an arterial embolism.
A podcast. My son's podcast saved my life. I just hated what I couldn't understand.
Soon after, Joel began his current stint on the Sports podcast. His father now listens to every podcast, rates and reviews them on iTunes, and has his son with him at all times with the mobile app for Stitcher Radio.
Okay, big day here. We've had some huge gets here in the Sports podcast. I don't think we've ever had a bigger one than this. We would
Not
like
a
to
chance.
welcome Michael Phelps to the podcast.
Hi guys, it's a pleasure to be here.
Mike, we are so glad to have you on the show here. I am a huge fan of yours.
Hey, thank you. You like my swimming?
Love your swimming.
Like it?
Swimming is fantastic.
How about Subway? Do you like Subway?
I do. $5 for a foot-long sub
You get to
is
eat
a really
fresh.
good deal.
You get to eat fresh for a low price.
You are correct, Mike. It is quite healthy.
Yeah.
And again, just watching you in the water is a joy. To see someone, it's like half man, half fish. You know.
I'm actually 100% person. It's a common misconception. I'm not part of a fish.
I know, but you swim so well, Mike. What are your thoughts on the Olympics so far?
Oh, I've had a great time at the Olympics so far. I got to travel to London. It's been a confusing time. They do things a little bit differently in London than they do in America.
They say schedule and process.
Oh, I never actually talked to somebody with a British accent.
What's been
when I was in London?
What's been really different
This
about
is weird.
the
This
games?
is weird. This is gonna freak you guys out. You guys aren't high right now, are you?
No.
All right, this is still gonna freak you guys out. I got out of the pool one time. Everybody was cheering. Same thing I do at every Olympics. Everybody was cheering Michael. I got out of the pool. I went and stood on the little box that said 1. They told me to step down onto a little box that said 2. And then they gave me a medal and they put it around my neck. And I said, "Wait a second. No, medals are supposed to be gold colored. And this one looks like a giant quarter."
Mike,
like a giant quarter around my neck.
It sounds like a silver medal.
They didn't apologize for their mistake, but I think that
Mike, they didn't make a mistake. You finished second in that race, and the silver medal is what they give to the second place finisher.
Right, gold only goes to first.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let's back up. Let's do a backstroke for a second here. All right, we're backstroking. So what you're saying is that I don't get a gold medal just because I get in a pool.
No, Mike, they give you the gold medals because you win the races that you're in.
Yeah.
Is that
it's a conditional.
Why all those other people are always in the pool with me?
Yes.
Is that why there's other people who are swimming next to me?
They're also trying to get the
I
medal.
thought that they were rabid fans who were trying to get my autograph by swimming a little bit behind me, and they just never caught me. I wonder.
No, Mike. It's a race. It's a swim race. You are.
Hold on. But there was one time in this Olympics, I swam in the pool, and I didn't get any medal at all.
That was the 400.
400 IM. You finished fourth, Mike. They only give medals to the first three places.
No, wait. What you're saying is that not everybody gets a gold medal for swimming in an auditorium full of cheering people.
No, Mike. All right, well, let's explain it this way. Okay, say there's 3 medals in any given race. Okay, and whoever finishes
the gold and the gold and the gold.
No,
right?
no,
Getting off track.
Yeah,
okay.
The first place finisher gets the gold. That's
gold,
the best medal.
Michael Phelps Award.
It's not. I mean, it might have seemed that way, but no.
It's a bit Phelpsian.
Yeah.
But, yeah, well, I guess I can't argue with that logic.
So the gold, though, the gold medal they've always given to number 1. Number 2, the person who finishes right after the person who finished first is the silver medal.
Gold 2.
No, it's a silver medal, and it means that you almost won the race, but not quite.
No. I see what you're saying. If you scratch off all the silver stuff, there's a gold medal under it. Kind of like a scratch.
Mike, that's not at all.
It's kind of like the Subway double steak, where if you take the steak off it, then you get the Asiago cheese.
No, that's not actually a particularly good analogy, Mike.
And third is bronze. The person who finishes the race third gets bronze.
Yeah, a bronze medal. A bronze. Yeah, right. Let's just take something that's found in everybody's pockets. You just take a bunch of pennies and squish them together and then give it to a swimmer.
That's copper.
There's
oxidizes.
actually very little copper in pennies these days.
Take a big penny and put it around someone's neck. Yeah, that'll be the day.
Mike, look, I know this might be hard for you. You're clearly not having as good an Olympics as you did in Beijing, as you did in Sydney. But yeah, I mean, you're just, you're a little bit older, and you're not as fast as you used to be, and you've not come in first in some of these races.
I think I just realized what's going on.
What?
They didn't give me the gold medal because I was high all the time.
No. Well, kind of.
Didn't help.
Yeah,
Didn't
it
help.
Probably didn't help at all that you were getting
Your synapses might not be firing.
Yeah, some people do get high, but most of them aren't Olympic swimmers. So it's sort of it might not, I don't know.
Your body's a temple. That's why you eat at Subway.
Hey, Subway, do you guys want to go to Subway?
Kind of, actually.
Yeah.
For you, the listeners of Sports Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend a wonderful book called The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Joel saw the movie. He said that it was okay. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Again, that's audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network for your free audiobook. Jordan Pomaville, a man, a podcaster, a lifetime of hardships. Despite systematic emotional and physical abuse, Jordan Pomaville grew into an orchid in the field of podcasting out of a huge pile of horse shit. Jordan grew up in one of the poorest and most trying countries in the world, the United States of America. Born to parents who both only had 2 arms and 2 legs, Jordan spent the first year of his life completely unable to speak. He couldn't even ask for food when he was hungry, forced to communicate through a series of gurgles and cries. But he overcame, slowly learning words like mama, baba, and eventually autoerotic asphyxiation. His journey didn't end there. At the young age of 5, Jordan's parents forced him into a government-funded program where he was forced to learn for upwards of 6 hours a day. This was not an isolated incident. He continued this mental abuse for 13 years, where he was made to learn English, math, and history while receiving less pay than third-world sweatshop workings. Jordan's parents, who still only had 2 arms and 2 legs, allowed this abuse to continue into his 20s when he went to college, where he suffered 4 more years of unpaid hardships. Then a bunch of other shit happened until he starred in his own podcast. Jordan Pomaville. He took vomit and made it into vomit aid, and then said, "No thanks, I'll have the lemonade."
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings to a close of an Olympic coverage-themed sports podcast. You jumped the gun there, Phil.
I know, I was getting antsy.
Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and think, sports!
No, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and go, smooch.
Gross.
Podcast.
Gross.
Do you mean you say spooge, or do you actually spooge?
No, that's the sound that it makes.
right. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That makes
Yeah.
more sense.
All right, but before we go, we'd like to give you our contact information.
You can email us at sportspodcast@gmail.com. You can find us at Twitter at sports3podcast. That's at sports3podcast. You can find us on Facebook by searching Sports Podcast in the little top bar. You can find us on iTunes by searching Sports3 space podcast. That's Sports 3 space podcast. Or you can find us on Stitcher Radio by searching Sports Podcast. Or you can find all of our back episodes at I screwed up. Find all of our back episodes at comedypodcastnetwork.com.
Oh, and he just came in. He was a tenth of a second ahead of world record pace there. He did it, even with the stumble. This is the fastest time Phil has given our contact information ever.
Hold on, guys. I admit I was doping.
Oh, God
Yeah.
damn it.
They're going to take the
I am
medal
full
away.
of sheep's mescaline right now. Mescaline derived from crushing sheep skulls.
God, that's disappointing.
Didn't
Phil.
need to be that specific.
You're supposed to be a role model.
Yeah. Now I'm a rolling on ecstasy model.
Yeah. Lights off.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.